Hello guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. We are the Abrams, and we're happy to be here again today. You know how we do it every now and then. Yep. So we're still on our How We Met series, and wow, we've gotten such positive responses. People love it. The practicality and the specificity also of the teachings and how we share. I mean, a lot of people are asking us to even do much more, and as a matter of fact, we're delighted to do just that. So if you're new to our YouTube channel, please subscribe and hit the YouTube channel. We can assure you that you...
And hit the notification button.
Yes, do so. We can assure you that you're going to be, blessed and wow. What's that word again now? Remind me now, don't be like this. Okay, you're going to be blessed and you're going to be here now. Okay, well, you betrayed me this time. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. We are grateful for your comments, your likes, and please do much more. Follow the videos. If you haven't watched any of our previous installments of this How We Met series, this is the first.
It's part 4.
Wow,
And
this is
last
the first
episode
and last
series.
and final episode for this series. So if you've not, please, you should just visit the video section and check out the other series. And we have other series too on addressing affairs and challenges and marriage in Nigerian context. We've addressed a few other things. As a matter of fact, on the Abrams channel, we film on faith and relationship, lifestyle,
personal
vlogs,
and trending issues.
If
the trending issue captures our scope.
Yes, of course. And we have one incoming, yes. But let's not face it. So let's go right to what we've got today as the final installment of our How We Met series. Alright, so we've talked about how we became friends, how we grew our friendships, the things we saw in each other that we loved, and how we finally knew, how I knew that she was the one.
That you was one.
Anyway, so today we're taking it from there to how she asked me out. Yes?
I beg your pardon.
No, didn't beg pardon what? Oh yeah, tell them how you asked me out.
What do you mean by that?
How you asked me out.
Please don't mind my husband though.
Anyway.
He meant to say how he asked me out.
No, let me even ask you that question now. Is there anything wrong in a lady asking a guy out, for instance?
Would you film on that another day?
Really? Because you want to dodge my questions. Well then, we move. Okay, so how I asked her out. Now this is proceeding from where I knew that she was the one. I had seen the values I loved and identified them, and then I've established that look, she is the one for me. So how did I make my move? I don't understand. I didn't make it this all about me. You are going to tell them I asked me out. Okay, so well, there wasn't much. Now I am quite conservative, but I usually try to build on the element of surprise. That usually is one of my greatest weapons. The element of surprise. I build on that. So if I was going to do something to you, the chances that you're going to know about it are very slim. Very slim.
Our channel today, my own is just to be there.
I don't understand. So you will still tell them how you asked me out.
My own is just to be there.
Okay, so at the time, I'd checked. Maybe I wasn't jittery. She was my friend, and that's why it wasn't a big issue about, hey, how am I going to ask her?
Okay, first, I think we should go like this. So I think I should help you so that our conversation can be structured.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I should ask you first that after you knew that I was the one, So what were the things, the activities that happened with you, like mental activities, as you began to think about, okay, now that I know that this person is the one, when do I ask her out? How do I ask her? How did it come about, the timing? Okay, see now, should I ask? Because there are people that they know that somebody is the one for them, but they just feel that it's not yet the right time to ask the person out. Like they can wait one month or so before they finally feel, okay, now I feel it's the right time to say this, or all of those mental activities that happened with you between the time that you confirmed or you were sure that, okay, I was the one for you, and the time that you eventually said your mind. So give us a brief of that.
I don't know. These questions, I'm capturing them. I shall ask you, and you
Baba, answer your question, Joe.
You shall answer them. Well done. You not ask question. Interviewer. Okay.
If you are looking for a presenter, or you want somebody that can interview for your channel, looking for a presenter, a moderator, all at me. You can already see that I'm very good.
I don't get. It's the only you guys in this list. Allah at me too. Okay, so back to what I was saying. To answer your question, the series of mental processes that occurred and how what informed my choice of time and the moment. Okay, in the previous video, I remember mentioning that I had a series of checks in my spirit, and this is related to how God speaks to you. Now, I'm not trying to say that because you have to hear God. In fact, a few seconds ago, I checked on social media and I saw one of our mentors put there that, look, at this moment now, cryptocurrency is like dropping, and he said, look, when you see the dip, he said, buy the dip. I don't know, many people in cryptocurrency understand God, and he said, buy the dip. Then I said, he's talking of marriage, not cryptocurrency. Then I giggled. You remember I giggled a few seconds ago when I took your phone.
I was wondering why you were giggling.
Yeah,
like you stole meat from the
pot.
pot.
Stole crickets from the kitchen. Okay, so I giggled because he was trying to say, when it's time to shoot your shots. Don't waste time unnecessarily. Shoot your shots. So that was the case. I didn't take too much time, but I'm someone who usually gives for time. I allow for a little time to check if what I'm feeling is not just something that I also expanded a little more in the last video, that if an idea comes to me and it expands more and more and more in my heart with time, with respect to time, not too much time, with respect to time, and I know that, look, this is the right thing to do. So I remember that we stopped working for one reason or the other. The workplace backed up, so we found I left the place in January. I think you were still there till
late
February. All right. So by that time we had become very close friends. We had so I took that time off, as I said in that video, to also clarify, to be sure. So I took time of praying, time of getting counsel, time checking if what I was feeling was actually love and not just my head playing games with me. Excuse me. So in that regard, between January and March, we used to communicate, maybe we used to see from time to time, because it was in March, that I eventually came to ask you, it was in March. So that time I took it to check and find out if this was truly what I wanted to do. And once I was sure, I now began to find out an avenue. And like I said, I was not jittery, I was not worried about what, I was not even fearful. I was not.
So you're not feeling like?
No, I am not. But no, God was there to be scared about. She was my friend. Yes, that I didn't have a big concern or worry about what it was going to be, even if she was going to say no. Of which, yes, I was also confident she was not going to say no.
Okay.
But I was confident, having known that I was having this leading and I was not just shaking my head into something that was not. And of course, I don't also asked her and made those findings to be sure. I mean,
Which findings?
wait, the findings that look, are you in?
Am I in?
Are you in another? Are you in a relationship? Are you married? And all those things. I'm just giving that as an example. So, because some people don't even know any of those things. They just go and pray, and then they come and ask a lady out, and then the lady tells them she's married. She's married, and all of that. So you ought to have done that.
Your homework.
Yes, that working. And I knew that. Okay, look, I have an opportunity. I have a chance, an opportunity to bury Wally. So even if there are, yes, now even if there are other perspectives, but I can still come and make my intentions known, and nobody's going to cut off mine. Yes, amen.
Nobody's going to cut off. But you knew that other people were asking me off at the time.
Yes, I knew. That's why I also said I had equal prospects to ask you out, because they're asking you out. But anyway, okay. So it was in March 2020. I remember a friend of mine she invited me over for just to kind of get together, do that from time to time. So I thought the ambience of that place, now it was one of the institutions in Akure, there was a forest reserve there, and the place was usually quiet, and I knew that this kind of environments could make the kind of impact that I needed when I was going to ask the question. Now, on this note, I didn't take her out to a restaurant or maybe one of those gardens. Maybe I didn't have so much money, but I think I was more.
You were colored.
I was more conservative than it was about money. Yeah, before then, I'd even been to Italy a number of times.
Yes.
So, I didn't know too many places in Akure where I could deliver the kind of impact that I wanted to, like this place. I thought the environment was what really mattered the most, not the food, not this thing. And of course, being my friend, I'd already known her that, okay, why she likes some good food and all of that.
So me now.
Wait now. So you are saying you are a foodie now? Is that what you are saying? So you are a foodie. Okay. It's good to admit finally that you are a foodie. It's good to finally admit that. Please note that down. Yes, no discuss. Okay. Yeah. So that environment was it for me.
So sorry, let me come in now since I'm your interviewer for today. So you invited me over to the kind of get together that your friend was having, or just hang out at your friend's place for the weekend. You invited me over to the hangout at your friend's place for the weekend with the intention of asking me out, or you just, when you got there, you felt, oh, this was the right place for me to see what's in my mind?
No, I already said that I had made plans, and that was why I invited you to come over to that place. I had made plans to ask you that question, to pop a question that look, okay, let me leave now. So I decided that already. And that was why I deliberately invited you to that kind of atmosphere. Now, it was a hangout with friends. So I wanted her to also meet my friends. That was why I invited her to that place. After which, we now took, I think we finished at around 2:08 or thereabout. So we now took the time out. We left the place and then we went out together.
Heading home
on the way. So we just decided to take a walk down the road of the forest. We were very calm, cool, and serene kind of environment. So after some time, we sat down together, and I have to be. Well, I'm still going to ask you because you've not told me whether you knew or you saw what was coming or this time. But like I said, the element of surprise is one of my biggest things. I like to pull off surprises. So if you need a surprise plug.
When did you start doing that business?
You can ask me. No, you're not surprised plug. Me, I'm surprised plug. So you're doing your gig just now. No mind us, right? Okay, so we sat together, then we talked.
Should be the one that asked you see, let me be putting everything that you forget, let me be reminding you. Okay. We're working with the intention of going home.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and then we got like halfway. And then you were like, let's sit here for a while.
Oh,
so we did not just randomly sit. It was you that said, let's sit here for a while. Am I lying?
Okay. Probably I left that part out. So I asked us to sit. There was a place where we could sit. So we sat there, sit out. So we sat there. And then we started talking. I have to be honest, I cannot remember the things that we talked about, but there were general friend stuff, chat, okay, what happened today, what happened here, this is happening here. And while that was happening, you had asked me to sing for you before, but you didn't quite get the response, the kind of positive response that you had wanted. So
because you used to today I'll have to interrupt you a lot. Guys, sorry.
Okay, it's fine.
My husband at work, my husband, you will not even know that my husband can do something. He will just be idling himself. So, like if it's not, because it doesn't it's not work related, but there are other things that he can do that if you don't really pay attention to him, you will not even know. So I know that once in a while I used to like, how do they say Momo song? How do they say that? Under your breath. And once in a while, like when maybe you get a little bit carried away, I can hear your voice, and I'm like, wow, you have a very good voice. Sing for me now. Do you sing in church and all of those things? And you will not answer, like you just like watch that part away until you invited me to church. I saw that so you were the one actually leading the choir now, or the whatever in your church. I'm like, oh, so like that. So I used to disturb my husband a lot at work. Like, sing for me now, and he will not answer. So, but at that time, I've forgotten about it too. I've forgotten that I was asking him to sing for me.
That was why. That's where the act of surprise make you have to learn surprise 101. Hiding it up until that time so that I could bring it out at that time and really stun her. Now I stunned her not only with the voice but also with the song. I prepared some special romantic song. Now, why are you blushing? You can remember the song.
Who is blushing?
Don't worry.
We'll
still share that video now. You know how.
Which video? We do not have the video of that.
That one. But later on, I still sang and sang the song with you.
Yeah, I still sing and sang
the song. Excuse me. So I prepared 2 specific songs. Should I mention them?
Yes, go ahead.
One is nothing's going to change my love for you. The other is these are what do they call them? They call them classical love song, oldies kind of. Then there's another one. If you're the one, then why does my soul feel glad today? Daniel Bedingfield. Okay, so those 2 songs, I prepared them. And while in fact, at that sit out, we were able to lay back and look at the sky. Yes, I remember that we were able to look at the sky, look at the stars, the clouds, and as they were moving. So I thought, wow, what wonderful time to pull this surprise. And I did. I started out with one of the songs, and she was really enjoying it. I don't know. Excuse me. Before that time, had I sung "Nothing's Gonna Change My Love" before? No, but you had heard it before.
Okay, so let me remind you the things you didn't remember.
Okay.
So after he said we should sit for a while, we're a few, maybe like 100 meters from the gate.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts. So he said, okay, let's sit for a while. Because I think it was a Friday night and the scenery of that place was really good. And there were street lights kind of a thing, around. And so we sat for a while, we started gisting, we talked. There was a particular, I don't know, I think there was something you did that offended me the day before, something like that, or I don't know. We tried to trash out that issue.
Okay.
So after trashing out that issue, then we started gisting, like just random gisting. And then you were now like, okay, you've been asking me to sing for you.
I said that. Interesting. Yes. I don't even remember.
So that okay, let me sing for you now. And I'm like, oh really? I was excited. Okay, let me hear you. Let me hear what you have to offer now.
Okay.
Let me see the stuff that you've got. So you now brought out your phone and then you played the song on your phone and you were like singing along. Yeah. So you actually sang a total of 3 songs that day. So you sang the first one, and I'm like, because like you are like, I don't know how do they say that thing? Like you are so scored the song that you were freestyling where it was freestyling, you were raising your voice like, I'm like, wow, that sounded like almost exactly like the man singing the song. Yeah. So you sang the first one, and then you sang the second song too. And then it was in the third song. Did you remember what you did?
Honestly, I don't think. Guys, you know, be angry. You see, I remember the big picture, but I don't remember the details that those things.
Be respecting me. Me, I don't used to forget details.
How would you forget that kind of delivery? Are you joking?
No, which kind of delivery? It's not because of any delivery. I used to remember details. Just give me that credit to me.
You won't forget that.
I used to remember details of anything, like details. The tiniest details. I used to remember. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you wanted to sing the third song, you were like, okay. So you finish the first one, you're like, okay, let me sing another one for you. Since you liked the first one, you sang the second one. Then you're like, do you still want another one? I'm like, oh, why not? They're like, okay, let me sing the third one for you. Okay, so and I was waiting because all the songs you were singing were love classical, or I don't know how they call it, but they were love song, like all this classic music, foreign classic music. Yeah, both the first and the second song. So when it got to the third song, you know, I egg my hand.
I think it's all coming back to me now, okay?
You held my hand.
Yeah.
And you were like,
and she held my hand, so don't do that part.
wait, when you held your hand, you hold my hand, oh God, oh. Once you hold somebody's hand, the hand is head, have you? And what when you held your hand too?
Let's be 50-50 like that.
You know, I had my hand,
okay.
And you now said some stuff like, hey, why have been shaking the con.
This reminds me of that.
No, you just said just normal stuff. Like, you had my hand and said normal stuff. Like, you've been a good friend to me and all of just normal stuff. Then you now started singing the third one, which is, what's the name of that song?
Nothing's gonna change
my love for you. You have to remember now.
See, she knows the song now.
Yeah. So you now sang that one. So it was after you now sang. So when you heard mine, because it felt so sudden. No, like it really felt sudden because you just held my hand. I wasn't expecting you to hold my hand at the third song. So I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Like seriously, what's happening? So you're sure romantic small. Continue your story.
Well, we thank God.
Continue your story. Your story that I'm the one that is able to say out.
Wait. Thank you for reminding me. Like I said, guys, pardon, I don't remember some of those details. I don't know. It's not guys, but man, I'll tell you that part later. Okay, so having sung the two previous songs, I held her hand like she has said, and then I actually told her that, look, I appreciate your being in my life this past couple of days or months that I've known you. I mean, at the time, I just known about 7 months. Yeah. I just known about she had been quite, an integral part of my life already, as though we had known each other for 10 years. I mean, the way we talked, the way we did, the way we do things, it was like we've been together for so many years. So I said, look, I appreciate your being in my life. At this point in time, it means a lot to me. And at that time, like I said, I was also feeling all sorts. I mean, where I was staying, I wanted to move. There were lots of decisions I wanted to make. So she was there for me.
Your dad too?
Yeah, I just lost my dad a few months before then too. So it was a lot. Let's say a few months. That was barely 2 months or 2 years, a little over 2-3 months to that time. I lost my dad. So there were lots of things that I wanted to make a decision of whether to leave the town at the time, to move, and there were lots of things I wanted to do, and she was quite instrumental to that. So I appreciated her a lot, and I told her how she mattered to me, how she meant so much to me. Then I sang her the third song. It was this song that I used to deliver my intention. Yes. It was the what do they call it now? Payload that I used to deliver. Or vehicle that the missile I used to deliver my payload. Alright, so I sang the song for her. And funny enough, I didn't even expect that song to have that impact on you because it was a song you didn't know. You hadn't heard the song before. So I didn't heard that song before, but I practiced it at and I tried to personalize it as much as I could so that it will look as though it's actually coming from me. Though I'm playing it on the device, but you can realize that look, this actually comes.
You knew all the wordings of the song and all the notes,
all the
and everything.
Aspect, the modulation, everything. I learned everything. And that song is very dear to me, actually. That song is very dear to me. I've forgotten the name of the singer now. But that song is very dear to me. I first heard that song in 100 level when I was in Futa. I heard it just fleetingly, but I didn't forget that song. I kept looking for it. At the time, I didn't have a multimedia phone. So it was many years later, that I heard that song played over the radio again. I heard the lyrics and I quickly browsed it out. I know this is that song. This is that song. The song kind of brought me into, I don't understand, but the song is very dear to me, and the romantic, the atmosphere that the song also engenders too. I mean, then that's romantic. Yes, we're Christians and all of that, but man, this I can't be playing worship song for I can't bring.
Okay, so you cannot play Lorenzo your chants to act together. That's
my dear, tell you accept it. I should love a lot of Lorenzo chants at the time. But mind you, don't be like that. I think I've done such a thing. Okay. So yes,
so that's just one hint. So my husband is very spiritual, like what, like very spiritual. But
and she is spiritual too.
Yes, but when he wanted to ask me out, he made it all romantic. So guys, if you're a Christian brother, then you don't have to ask the lady out every time in church. It doesn't have to be that you have finished listening to Apostle Selma every time before you ask the lady out. You don't have to talk about realms and dimensions
and ascending
and all of the dimensions of the immortals before you ask the lady out. So particularly if you've been friends with the lady, create an atmosphere of friendliness, of joy, the atmosphere that just help you to drive home your point with ease. You don't have to say Sister Lizzie and then share seven realms of glory before you now want to come and say you want to ask the person out. You get? So you make the atmosphere calm and everything. We're not saying you have to make it carnal.
Yeah, I mean.
But what we're saying in essence is make it beautiful, make it memorable for the person. Let the lady you are even talking to know that, oh, this is somebody that I can enjoy my life with. Not just that we'll pray together, not just that, all of those other things. I can also enjoy my life with this person. And I really appreciate my husband for that, because he really created that kind of a atmosphere in driving home his point. So I think that you guys should learn a lesson from him.
Yeah, I remember also mentioned the last video that at least my spiritual father told me that I should connect. And yes, I need to even talk about that too. Okay. A few months before then, I had after the relationship, after the friendship had begun to grow and I began to see quite a number of things, I intimated my spiritual parents about the person. Look, I'm having such intentions. Although at the time I'd not made any of this clear to her or at all, I'd not even said anything of the sort to her. But I gave that account to them and I was like, look, this is what I'm thinking. So a while later, they asked me a couple of questions. You know how it is. Okay, are you sure about this? Have you prayed about this? Are you sure this is God's leading and this and that? So then they asked me a few questions about her too. Where does she stay? Where is she from? What does she do? And all of that. Where did you meet her? And I told them that. So a short while later, they invited her to see them. And they also interview. In fact, when they told me that they would like to meet her, and I told her.
Yeah, I was skeptical, like, why? She just called. I think maybe we're no longer in
at the workplace
at the workplace again at this time. So and then one day I think he set me up or something, and it was like, of which I think it was before then or so. You had sent me a message one day and like, do I mind if you take me out?
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh really? And so you took me out. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You took me out. We had barbecue and all of the stores, and I was comfortable, of course. We're friends, so you could take me out, Abby.
Yeah. And
take me out, let me chop your money, Abby. But again, I was a bit wondering, like, okay, so what's up about the taking out and everything? But that place, it didn't say anything, even though it was written all over you.
It was? I don't think so.
It wasn't.
Sam, I don't think so.
But so it wasn't. I think it wasn't too long after that. It wasn't too long after that at all that you asked if that your spiritual parents would like to meet with me in their house, and I was like, really, like, why? Won't you ask why? I don't know why. Why would they like to meet me? And you're like, okay, so they're going to have where their church wasn't too far from where I lived at the time. So you were like, okay, they were going to have a program in church, so I could just meet them up in church, and so that I could join them in their vehicle home. So you remember now, that's exactly how it happened. I'm like, okay. But I was also a bit skeptical, like, so why does a spiritual parent not to meet? Is that how this? Okay, I think I asked that. Is that how they used to meet all your friends or something like that, just for love?
Yeah.
So
she came. I don't know the content of the discussion or the interview or the panel. I do not know, but she was there with them for a short while, and then after that she came out, and from there, I felt okay. Look, they've met with her, and afterwards they told me a few things. And okay, we've listened to her. We think she's a very good girl. They said that. Sure? Yes. Wait, are you? So they said they think that she's a very good girl. That I just need to be. Make sure my spiritual parents are they're prophetic kind of people that are like, look, you need to hear from God and be sure that God is leading you to do this. That's our take on this. We're not going to choose for you, and I love them so much for that. That we're not going to choose for you. They're not going to say, okay, look, thus says the Lord. This is your No, I've never known them to do that, even though they are prophets. But so, in this regard, they told me their mind, and I thought, okay, this is a positive review. I can go ahead. So it was that made me to proceed with mine. So I think this is a very good time to tell you that, look, as beautiful as it is to be in love and to want to make the decision to ask someone out, particularly with respect to marriage, life relationships, and all of that, it's always good to be accountable to someone, either a mentor, an elderly person, someone you can trust, and someone who can tell you the truth. Not someone who will just rub their hands on you. You know, their friends, whether elder friends, that they just, this is a good person, he has some money, why don't you have it? Just because of their own stomach, because they know that once you are attached to the person, you'll be bringing goodies home every day, and they can beat it at their own detriment. So please don't be like that. Have someone you're accountable to, and always be able to tell them, look, this is the decision I want to make now.
What do you think about it?
What do you think about it? Yes.
I really think guidance is important, because in the 21st century we have people who are God of themselves, who say things that, like, this is one of the things you should look out for if you're planning to get married or you're planning to enter into a relationship with someone. I do not advise you to enter into a relationship with someone who says things like, I am the epicenter of my own decision.
My life.
Each of us, God has helped us, but to a reasonable extent, I think you are safer when you're with somebody who is accountable to someone. And I don't mean accountability by fancying or by flaunting, just mere mouth talk that, hey, this person is my mentor. Somebody that they really listen to, and this somebody has to be reasonable to. So you should also get to know the kind of authority or the kind of person they submit. It could be a senior friend, it could be a mentor, it could be a pastor, it could be spiritual parent, but at least there should be somebody, and you should get to know, because see, who that person is really going to turn out to be, or who that person really is, it's not really far from the influence over the person's life. So you should get to know. It should not be that the person listening to is some drunkard who doesn't really believe in marriage, who believes that every woman should be put in their place, and all of those things. And even the lady too should have somebody that she also submits to. So this is very, very important. I don't really think you should go out with somebody who says, it's my life, I do it anyhow, whatever I think is the last or is the final thing. And you should have seen the authority of this person in this person's life before now, not just only in the area of marriage alone.
Yeah.
You should be able to trace how this person has helped as a guidance, maybe when they were making a particular decision, maybe about their career or about something spiritual that happened to them at some point, how the person guided them, or maybe it was a past relationship that didn't end well and how the person helped them, was there for them. You should have a track record. There was something that the Winlows said one time that is very profound. They said that marry, or say the Winlows or Pastor Kingsley's wife, one of the two. They said marry patterns and not promises. You say you should marry a person's pattern. You should over time, okay, how has this person been progressing? How has this person, the progression of this person's life, what does it look like? If you are able to trace their progression, you are most likely to know what their future and present is going to look like. And not just mere promises. So you should notice this pattern. And over time as friends, I told you the last video how that when we're discussing how did you know that he was the one, how did you know that she was the one. I told you that one of the places where I knew that he was the one was we were out talking and he was telling me about his experiences with his pastor during NYSC. And now he did a lot of things, sowed seed, followed some instructions and all. So these are patterns that you cannot lie about, because there were things that have happened before, and at the time it wasn't saying it necessarily because we even wanted to enter into a relationship. It's just a friend to friend gist. So I was able to trace that, okay, over time this person has a pattern of submission and the ability to listen, to humble himself to someone. If you marry somebody that has never humbled himself to anybody, why do you think the person will humble himself to you all of a sudden? Because marriage do not automatically do the magic. Marriage doesn't do any magic to anyone. It's who you are that you bring in. So I think that's very important too.
So thank you. Having met with them, like I said, I made plans, and that's where we came to that place, that open ground.
Sorry, baby, let me ask you a question. So if at the time you spoke to your spiritual, you said you spoke to them months before you even asked me out. So if at the time you spoke to them, they are now giving you a positive response, so to say, maybe they were skeptical about me, or they were giving you some negative this thing about it, what would you have done? Would you have proceeded, or how would you have handled it?
Okay, now in my case, I told them some months before, and I think I told them in November. So they said, okay, they'll pray. And then they asked me those questions too. Who is she? Where is she from? Are you sure? Do you have a word from God that this is who this person is going to be like? So I decided to take my time. That is why I did not rush out to come and just rush out. I decided to take my time. When they had seen you, they had given me their verdict of you, and I had also prayed, taking that time to pray and hear. And look, the Bible says that there is multitude, there is what is it now? In the multitude of counsel, there is safety. Yes. So I didn't just want to make that decision alone. I wanted them to also, because they have been my spiritual parents, and not just spiritual, physical, for many years. So that kind of information I couldn't hide. In fact, my own physical parents had handed over that role to them. That whoever they say is okay for me, or whoever they decide on, with respect to having seen the person or that when I bring the person, they would accept it. So I decided to involve them fully in that regard, and that was how I let it play out. So once they told me they had met with you, they gave me their idea of you that you're good at this and that. So having prayed myself and gotten confirmation, I decided to make my move. So that was when I made my move.
You did not answer the question.
Okay, what is the question?
I said that if when you spoke to your spiritual parents, they kind of gave you a negative response,
right,
or maybe they didn't go straight to say no, but you read that, of course you've been with them so you can know when they agree to something and when they disagree to something. So if you had gotten kind of like the negative this thing from them, being your spiritual parent, how would you have gone about it?
All right. In answer to your question, prior to this time, a couple of months before I asked her out, I'd spoken, like I said, to my spiritual parents, and in all honesty, their reaction was not the kind of excited reaction like, hey, finally Toby has gotten a lady to get married to and all of that. And I could understand that because I'd been with them. I mean, I was like a child for many years. So they knew me, they knew what I was capable of, they knew the people that had come around me. But they did not know this lady that I was talking about. And that's why they still took some time to interview me. Like, who is this person? Are you sure? I mean, we just met a few months before that time. I never met her anywhere else before that. So a few months, like 7 months before that, 6 months. By the time they were asking me this question, maybe like 6 or 5 months. And they were worried that, are you sure it's not the butterflies that are helping you to make this decision? So that, of course, they did not say an outright no. And I think that is a place of the fact that, yes, that the fact that they even say an outright no. I'm saying for someone out there now, if you even get an outright no, particularly when you inform your mentors, because this is one reason why people don't inform their mentors. They feel their mentors are going to dissuade them or prevent them from getting married to the person that they love or doing what they want to do in that sense. So even if they said an outright no at first, it still doesn't mean that you should give up all the way, particularly on something that you're convicted on.
About, yes.
So it's not time to give up. It's time to, okay, look, let's try again. Let's give it some more time. Let's pray. And while I'm praying, am I really sure that this is what this is the right thing to do? Then you come back here and bring it up and help them to see reasons. So it was on one of those occasions, I think I'd asked again, and they were like, okay, you know what? Let us pray about it. So they did go ahead, they prayed about it. And like I said, they did not give an outright no, but they were just concerned. It was genuine, skeptical, and that was out of genuine concern for me. That, boy, are you sure that this decision is the right decision to make at this time? I mean, you just lost your dad. I mean, is it because of this that you just want to make this decision, or is this? Well, they just wanted to be sure that I was in my right position. And I was like, look, I think I'm rightly positioned enough in my head. So later on, I brought it up and said, let's pray about it. They did, and that was when they asked to see her.
Okay.
That was when they asked to see her. So on seeing her, they talked. When they interviewed her, I wasn't there. So they interviewed her, they talked, and then later on they gave me the advice that look, I have to be honest with this. They were my pastors. They were my pastors. So I understand that many pastors are also skeptical about giving, like releasing their someone whom they've sowed. I mean, labored a lot over, someone they've sowed a lot of seed over, just releasing the person to someone they don't know, number one. And also releasing the person over a decision that maybe doesn't seem quite tested sufficiently yet. So they feel skeptical, and that's why many pastors who don't want people to marry outside their church. They want people who they can oversee their, okay, if she's new or is she willing to join our church so that we can be able to monitor, because I don't want all the labor that I put in you to go to waste because of one person. Well, why should you even carry that labor and go and put it in another church in any case? Why don't the two of you come and start something in this day? That kind of a thing. Many people are like that. So that, in my own case, they were my pastors, and they also had those concerns, but they were loving enough to let me make my decision.
So really, this is the thin line between it. So because these are issues that we should be sincere enough to address as Christians, because there are many times where people meet somebody that they love and they are convinced that, okay, God is leading me to this person, but this person doesn't belong to their church denomination, so to say. This person wasn't groomed by their spiritual father or mentor or pastor. And when you now bring this kind of thing to the person, say, this person I want, particularly maybe if this person was in a church that maybe the pastor of the church was a friend to your pastor, and they kind of know, they're kind of interwoven, they could still just accept. But sometimes when they don't really know the other church or denomination, or they just feel somehow that, are you sure about this? Why don't you marry from church? Why somebody that we know that we can? Okay, so we want to say that first, the intention, we believe that the intention they have is not outrightly wrong. It's just from a place of overseeing, care, concern, to be sure that you're getting somebody that has the same values that we have taught you, something like that. But again, the balance or the thin line is that this should not be, or people who really, pastors who have really submitted to God, understand love and everything, would not outrightly be an hindrance to you. So the best they will do is, how is this person? Let's get to know this person. So because we know that, of course, the body of Christ is large. So people are being discipled everywhere. Just because the person wasn't discipled by you doesn't invalidate the discipleship that the person went through to. So for instance, when spiritual parents called me around, they asked me, who is your pastor, all those kinds of things. So these are some of the things that you can do to be sure that this person is being taught. If any Christian would be Christian anywhere, it really doesn't matter. Maybe this person would disciple or that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And in the previous video, we already spoke about how that both of you should agree belong to the same tribe. And by tribe, we didn't necessarily mean church, but at least both of you that want to get married should belong to the same tribe and have the same mindset about things. So when they invited me over there and they saw that, what was the salvation experience, they asked me that too. Are you baptized in the Holy Spirit? Tell us some things. And so these are other ways to show if you are really concerned. These are other ways to show that where this my son or this my daughter is going to is actually a safe place, and also in the place of prayer. So why that concern, why that initial show of concern is not wrong. We should not also take it to the extreme where people now begin to give rules like you must not marry anybody that is not from this church and stuff like that. So this is us, because we know that there could be a lot of people out there who are in between this kind of dilemmas, so to say. So this is the balance that we think, this is how we think that it should be addressed.
Okay, thank you. Alright, so back to where I was singing the third song. We did quite a bit of flashbacks back to present day or in the storytelling. So the last song, I sang the third song and I tried as much as possible to dramatize it to her, and she felt so overwhelmed.
How do you know I felt overwhelmed? Were you
inside
me?
You were overwhelmed.
Yeah, when I felt overwhelmed, were you inside me?
You were overwhelmed. We knew.
Inside me. Yeah, inside me.
Okay. So the butterflies inside her were also singing that song too. And I expressed my intention to her that, look, I love you, and I'd like us to take our friendship to a whole new level. I have plans for marriage. I began to tell her some of my aspirations, the things that I wanted to achieve, and how she fitted into some of those things. And how, so far, I'd seen how she fitted, and I think that she would really fit into what
me, I even remember the things you said.
You remember the things? Go ahead. Proceed without caution.
Are you not the one saying your own story? So you don't remember your own story?
Like I said, I don't remember the small details, the small picture.
Okay, so guys, our flashback was very long, right? Sorry. So when remember we said he sang 2 songs, and before he started singing the third song, he had my hand and said some things, thank you for being a good friend and all of those things. And then he sang the third song, if I have to live my life without you now. What was that song? Nothing's gonna change my love for you. So, and after he sang the song, then he held my hand. I was looking straight into my eyes, and he was like, AY, thank you so much for being a good friend. Ever since you came into my life, this one, that one, and everything. And then he said something very important, because my husband was very detailed with every single thing that he saw that he liked. So I'm wondering why you're not forgetting now.
Ouch. Yeah, sorry.
So you are like
ministry.
physically, if we should start physically, you are very beautiful. I like the way you dress. How you wear your jumpsuit. You were very, very detailed about every single thing. And it was like, I like the way you dress. I mean, most of the time when you dress, like people turn their heads and like, wow, you're so gorgeous and stuff like that. And then when you said that, you now said, okay, on the mental aspect, you're so intelligent. You said some of the discourses that we've had so far that made you to come to the conclusion that okay, this person is really intelligent. And then you say, wow, you're so spiritual that you've not really found a lady who have been able to put all this balance together the way you have been able to do, and all the things that you're convinced that that having you in my life would help you to draw closer to God because of my spiritual experiences. My love, you were very specific and said, I had such a heart for God that you find very interesting. Why am I the one telling you? Get out, John. Well, it's like this.
I'm blushing now. In response to all the things I said, wow. Awesome. I mean, guys, how about that?
You're not serious.
Oh yeah, help us to run this.
I'm not helping you to run that for anything. Continue from where I stopped. So yeah, continue.
Okay, having said all of that, I told her I love her and I want her to be in a part of my life. And all of that. Those are the parts that I remember. So I remember she was mute for she was mute for many minutes.
That's the one you will remember.
I will remember.
You will not remember.
Guys, it's a random access memory. I think those things in the RAM. Right now, I cannot remember which compartment of whether they are still in the RAM or something. But then it was a prepared.
And you were like, this song that I've heard, there are many more songs that I know that you think that I'm somebody that might not really be romantic and all of those things, but you promise that there's a lot of surprises that you have to unveil.
Yes,
if I agree to go. What is yes so? You remember what you said. You are not dancing yes so in this place. What is yes so?
Maybe you can come along. I don't remember the exact words. To be honest, I don't remember what the exact words, what the exact things I said. But I know that I made an impression, good impression, Naji.
So are you the one marking your? Are you the one marking your?
I'm happy with myself. Okay.
So what?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Help you what? We continue what you are saying, Joe.
So I have to say that she was mute for a long moment. She was mute for a long moment, and even after we stood up to leave, she said very few words to me. Very few.
And you were like, it's okay not to be response now.
Immediately. That maybe subsequently she can go and think over it and give me an answer later when she's more comfortable. Because I know that right now I'm not in that kind of a state to give that question. So I walked her down the road, we boarded our vehicle and
went our
ways because we stayed in different parts. And it was already late. In fact, we had to leave because it was already late. It was late at the time. So we needed to be home before it got too late. So, gentlemen, ladies, this is my own submission, this part, my own part of the story. I think it's about time for you to tell them how you asked me out.
How I asked you out? It's about Rishi. Tell them what?
So you have to tell them your own, the thought process. Are you going to hide it? I did not hide my own. The thought processes that was going on in your head.
The one that was helping you to say
everything. The thought processes that was going on in your head when I was telling you the nice words.
Okay. Okay, so in the last video, if you watched it, remember I said that there was a time that I had just come to a conclusion because I had known that okay, I think he's the one. And because it was maybe taking his time to be sure and all of those things, and so I got to a point personally where I said, you know what, God, if he's the one, then let it happen at your own time. Right now I'm no longer thinking about this one, so And I said that was the time that he now eventually asked me out. So that day, he had asked that I should follow him out to a friend's place. The friend was a lady actually. That she
did not bother you though.
Bother me. Kilo come.
Okay. Oh.
Like guys,
That's
bother me.
That's what they always do.
Okay, so and this your lady friend had asked you come over. I think it was a Friday, so maybe just for talk, laugh, food and stuff like that. Would I want to go? And I'm like, she didn't invite me. Why should I just show up in another person's house when it was you they invited? I was a bit distant about it. Plus, I just made that decision too, so I don't really want. A guy, if you know, leave me alone. You know that kind of leave me alone. Anyway, Sha tried to convince me over the phone because I think he sent it on WhatsApp or something, or maybe you eventually called, or I don't know. So he tried to convince me. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So I dressed up, and it was in the evening, of course. The friend I asked him to come around in the evening, maybe around 6 or around 5, you know, after closing and closed from work and everything. So we went there. There's still another story in that place. So I better not say, I will not say that story now.
Okay.
Your friend's friend.
Shall continue.
You know, hey, don't mind my husband though. He's very good. Yeah, he eats the reaction very well.
Continue. I'm trying to remember that, but continue.
Guys, I don't want to put it.
Okay.
Because when we got there, all the drama, everything. Anyway, guys, let me just focus.
Please. Go straight to the point.
Okay, so we went there and our friend gave us a good treat of food and, you know, spent some time with them. We saw a movie too that day.
Oh, yeah.
You remember we saw a movie that day and all of those things. So when it was time to leave, it's bye you. So my intention was that we were going home because it was a particular institution, one of the institutions and all those things. So you have to like walk to the gate to access the main town so that you can get vehicles to where you're going to. So we're on the walkway trying to access the gates when we already said the story. And when we sat down, we were gisting, and then all of a sudden he like kind of changed the topic or conversation that we're talking about, and then sang that first love song because he said he wanted to sing for me. That first one, I was like, oh, maybe he was just like, I've been asking him to sing for me now, and he's been hiding his talent. So, but by the time he started singing the second one, I was a bit apprehensive, if that's the right word to use. I don't know. I was just a bit like, okay, where is this leading to? You know, that kind of feeling like, okay, where is this leading to? Because he sang the second song and it was still a love song. So while I was thinking, like, okay, where is this leading into? Then all of a sudden, he just held my hand.
Bang.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Really?
Guys, you get like, okay. Alright, so then he sang the third song and then he started saying the things he was saying. I'm like, wow. I wasn't surprised that he asked me out. We're good friends. I kind of already knew that, okay, this is the person for me. But just like what he said, the presentation, he tried to give a presentation that was breathtaking, so to say. So, and I was like, I was really breathtaking because for a long time I couldn't say anything. Like I didn't even say anything. I think to the end of the and it took a long time to, you know, state out his points. He enumerated with this viewpoint of mine so that you don't have any reason to say no. And it wasn't even viewpoint with all this detailed point of mine. You know, so it started as being friends, this one, spiritual, mental, intelligent, this one, what the future holds, the surprises he hopes to bring to the table and everything. And this is just where I say that Christian brothers should learn to be romantic. If you want to ask a lady, you don't necessarily have to say, oh, God says you are my wife, so because of that, marry me. Excuse me, who are you? Assistant God? So you get, so you should be spiritual, but at the same time practical with this lady, so that she can relate. So it's not like the lady is beautiful and then you just come and say, God said you'll be my wife. I see us ministry in crusade and healing people and traveling from village to village to evangelize. And after that one go you get, so you should, it won't do you any harm to really outline certain details that we believe would make the lady appreciate the fact that, okay, you are somebody that is balanced and that our life will be balanced with you. It's not just that you will be praying alone. There are other aspects of the home. You are going to be a loving father too, be a loving husband, be a romantic husband. All of those things too should show in your proposal. So ladies, beautiful, of course, I don't think you want to marry somebody that you don't find attractive or beautiful. So let the person know. Let the person know that you find the person attractive and be, oh, you are very beautiful, I like your dress sense, you make me laugh, all of those other things, which are the things that my husband actually took his time to enumerate. So if you are planning to ask the lady out, I think that my husband is a good person to come and take counsel from. Amen. That amen. So just like I said, even though it wasn't like it was coming from the blues that I didn't expect that were asking me out, because we're already very good friends. But again, the presentation was breathtaking, so I was practically quiet all through the presentation, like all through. Even after I finished, we waited for a while to see if I was going to say something, maybe for almost 10 minutes to see if I was going to say something. I didn't say anything, and then they said, well, it's fine for you not to say anything right now, but I just wanted you to know that this is my intention. And then we started walking to the gate. I'm not sure I even said anything. So we got to the gate, and then I took the cab going my own way, because we lived at different parts of town, and it took the one going to his own way too. So that was it. And then I think later,
when you now got home,
tell us. Okay, when I got home, I really find this kind of proposal intriguing, because not like asking out where you asked me. I found it intriguing because not many Christian brothers at the time would want to go to that length, or to be very detailed and so expressive. You sing love song, you're very romantic and all of those things. So I kind of found it intriguing. I found it exciting too at the same time. So that was it, and I wasn't surprised. Okay, so when I got home, even though because I began to have my own confirmation too before now. So I went to my journal. I had a journal. I have a regular journal, then I have a special journal that I bring out not very often.
Special occasion.
So I think I went to my journal, and then I related that with my journal. Sometimes there's a way I could write something like a letter in my journal. So I was talking to God via a letter. So I told, I kind of say a story of what happened that day. My ring, it's eating into my hand. So I kind of told the story of what happened that day in that journal. That okay, you had asked me out. Like I was putting it in a written form, and I was like, okay, God, so we will be talking about this for a while now, and if this is still the way you want to go, just let this go well and everything. And I think I also said a word of prayer, because there were things that I believed that the man that I would marry they would have. So I went again back to that journal to see that these things actually align. Do you understand? And I said some word of prayer written there in that journal. That was my own way of doing my own thing. So for you, it could be a different way and everything. So, but I always advise that even though you already knew or got confirmation from God and everything, if you are not saying yes at the moment, it's okay to say yes at the moment if you already know. Yes, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to bite you. You already know, and you're already sure. You already asked God. So why wait this month and I say okay, so there's absolutely nothing wrong, or I don't think, my husband and I don't think there's anything wrong with saying yes at that spot. Because if you already know.
The poor brothers had already.
Of course. And you guys are already very good friends. So, but for my own case, because I was mute, I was just extremely quiet. Like I just entered into one quiet mood. So I didn't really say anything at the point, but when I went back to my journal, I was able to relate everything that happened there. And I said words of prayer. I said words of prayer to his life. Saying that, okay, I believe that it was the one. So they were just like beginning words of prayer to confirm some of the words that God had told me the person that I would marry would be, So I outlined some words of prayer that were quite extensive too in the journal. So that was my own side. So how did I not say yes to you?
I should ask you. This is the question I've been asking you since.
Which one?
How did you ask me out? Yes.
Which one? How did I ask you out?
You asked me out.
Anyway, so it took some days, because I think it was second day or third day. One day we were chatting on phone.
What's happened?
Over the night, and then I think you asked me. I was like, I still haven't given you any definite response. Yes, you did. I still haven't given you any definite response about what we said the last time. And I now asked you something. Okay, so how am I sure that what you said you're really very sure about it and everything? And it's like, it's true about it now that you already told me everything. And okay, you were like, because you always say this thing that you're a man of your words, that you're not somebody that just says something, that if whatever makes you to say something, then that means you're already very sure to stand by it and stuff like that. So, and that was it.
So my word was sufficient.
Your word is sufficient as per your God.
No, not say my word. But I mean, my word was sufficient enough to base your.
My conviction was not based on what you say or what you didn't say. That was just a way to still hear you up again.
Okay.
Conviction was based on what God had told me and the things I've observed.
Alright, so guys, you see, I mean, we have told a story about this, and it may not exactly.
And then my husband just started calling me pet name right away.
Oh, really?
When did I say yes?
Oh, yeah, what pet name? That you didn't even say yes. Did you say yes?
I didn't say yes.
Can you imagine?
Seriously.
Can you imagine?
Yes. I mean, did I say yes?
So you not say yes? I'm going to check the archives again. Anyway, but I don't remember. I was the one that called you pet name, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's my own pet name.
That was joke.
Okay, so we've shared, we've relayed our experiences.
So that was it. And then we started a relationship. So it didn't take 1 month or 3 months afterwards.
We kicked off.
Just a few days
from
after.
where we left off as friends. It was not much, just that we began to plan together, began to see ourselves together.
And that was one of the questions I asked you that day. I said, how am I going to be sure? Because I asked you that sometimes that, okay, we've been very good friends and I appreciate that, but sometimes when people enter into a relationship, it kind of like have a dent on the friendship that they share. Do you remember? Yes. I kind of had a dent on the friendship that they share. So are you really sure that this would not be our own story and everything?
Friendship.
And you were like, no, you're a man of your words, blah blah blah.
Yeah, blah blah blah. Okay. Okay, so having said that, I was ready. That's why I came out straight. Usually I would only say something that I'm willing and able to do. I'll just come out, and that was why I told her, look, once I've decided that, that's why I came and told you. Otherwise I would probably not have said everything. I would have kept being friends. Okay, so we proceeded in the next couple of months. We became closer, talked more about future together, talked about, okay, what are your visions? How are you seeing your visions right now? What are your plans? We went deeper into those thoughts. Okay, where's your family? Anyway, we talked about a lot of this.
Even as friends.
Oh, as friends.
But
we went deeper.
now that we went very deeper, like,
yeah, we went
our relationship time was really a lot of question and answer that were really, really serious. And maybe that's why, to the glory of God, we don't really have a lot of issue or challenges being married.
I know.
Because I think, to be sincere with you guys, we had much more quarrel and disagreements
During
in
our
our
relationship.
Because I was I could be very blunt. I always make that statement. This is not the attribute I want to see in my husband. So we should better trash this issue now. All of those things. And look at it. So I really think that the time in your relationship should really be about that. While you are building friendship, so don't ignore obvious signs. You guys should get to talk, ask questions. So we had more disagreement then, not like we had a good relationship, good friendship. But again, we allowed, when we were not sure about certain things, when you did this one, that one, we're able to, God was really able to bring us into a very good synergy before we married. Even though it wasn't too long. But of course, and that really helped our marriage. That's really telling our marriage down.
Yeah.
So sometimes when we read some things online and say, this clinic company, we're like, oh really? They don't have relationship, or is it the way they made themselves, they married themselves or something? Because we really can no longer relate with their struggles now that we are married, having trashed out.
So that should help someone listening to us to understand that, look, the foundation of your marriage, the friendship period, the courtship period are very key. You have to do a lot of assignments, homework, understand the person's temperament, understand the likes and the dislikes, know their family members, and how your being in that person's life will help not just that person to be better, but you yourself to be better. Would it further God's plans for your life? Would it help you to be a better person as you're helping that person? So don't just be one who wants to give. Be willing to receive.
Too. Yes, it doesn't have to be one way.
It doesn't. In fact, if it's one way,
it should not even be one way.
It's going to be. You're going to
be exhausted. Yeah.
You'll be frustrated of giving and giving and giving, and the person doesn't even know that you are giving that much effort. Exactly. Or appreciate the effort that you are giving. That kind of level. So it should be that kind of symbiotic something. So having related this, is there anything else you want to say?
That'll be the end for today, guys. On this series, we're still going to do a lot of talking around relationship. For instance, we are going to say how we started our relationship, what were the first things that we noticed maybe that didn't quite align with one another, and how we were able to settle the issue and everything. But for now, on this particular episode, we have gotten to the end of it. We believe that you enjoyed it, so please drop a comment. Make sure you like this video. Send us your question. Maybe we're able to cover
what we said.
Exactly.
We hit the points that you are experiencing.
Exactly. So please send us your question. Our email will be in the description button, and we really hope that you enjoy your day and have a blessed week. So with that, we've come to the end of our video today. We are
the
Abraham.